Pastor to usher in our next guest, Paul Toner. Paul is a North Cambridge resident. He ran in 2017, Cambridge born, was a former leader of the teachers union. He's running as a consensus builder, and I think it's fair to say a fiscal conservative, hiring a new city manager with a focus on fiscal stability and maintaining services while minimizing growth in taxes is one of his main priorities. Welcome, Paul. It's nice to see you.
Hi, John. Thank you.
And I want to kick off with a sort of a context, a little bit of context about our neighborhood, which will not really come as news to you, but I think it's important to let you know that we want to hear what your positions mean for our neighborhood, and that is that Cambridge has a booming economy, but it's coupled with a regional shortage of housing, with a lot of gentrification and an acute crisis of affordability. And one common proposal is to build or permit more housing in the city in order to address this. You are endorsed by an organization, A Better Cambridge, that has said that everybody who wants to live in Cambridge should be able to. Mm-hmm. Now, bearing in mind that our neighborhood is already a very dense neighborhood of about 13,000 population, it hasn't grown in 20 years while the rest of the city has been growing. There's little vacant land. What does your vision for housing growth in Cambridge mean for development in our neighborhood in the next 5 or 10 years? Could you sort of bring it down and say what it means for mid-Cambridge, between Harvard Central and Inman Square, as you know?
Sure. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I was endorsed by, or have been endorsed by ABC, and I'm happy to have their endorsement. I will tell you that in my interview with them, I did express my concern about that very aspirational statement, because I don't actually believe that everybody that wants to live in Cambridge can or should be able to live in Cambridge. I do think we can do more on providing more units of housing to provide more opportunities at every income level for people to live in Cambridge. But I certainly don't believe that absolutely everybody that wants to live in Cambridge can live in Cambridge. That being said, I do believe that we could do more on height and density and high traffic areas and along transportation corridors and near train stations, things like that. I do think in some areas we could do more with some multi-unit housing. However, I will say, John, just yesterday I was door knocking in your neighborhood in the Ward 6 area, and I was just, noticing just how dense the area already is and how many multi-family homes, big, large homes that you have that already have multiple units. So, I mean, I don't want to see skyscrapers built in every single neighborhood or anything like that. I want to see things built that meet the scale and, the sort of the architectural character of neighborhoods. In some neighborhoods, I think we can do more in terms of developing more multi-unit housing out of single family zoning right now. So I think Cambridge can do more, but one of the main themes of my campaign is we need to do more regionally. The other towns, Arlington, Belmont, et cetera, need to get on board and meet their obligations as well.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So you wouldn't be, it sounds like you're not prioritizing development in mid-Cambridge, and hopefully that means that you would respect our Conservation District Commission that we fought so hard to get to keep neighborhood input in projects.
Yeah, I mean, I want to work with, each of the neighborhoods and the residents to make sure that we, develop areas that, can and should be developed, but also taking the input of folks in the neighborhood. I certainly don't want to go steamrolling development in any particular neighborhood.
Now, if development happens in other areas of housing, that leads to another problem. Another problem that mid-Cambridge has is mid-Cambridge is in the middle, and we're between the places where people work and the places they live. And so our streets are choked with traffic. And the city's plan has a lot of projects underway, most of them which are focused on bicycles. And as you we don't, but Mid-Cambridge is not a neighborhood of bicycle riders. So what are these bike lanes going to do for Mid-Cambridge, do you think? And do you think that that this is a good policy? The city is going ahead in a good way on this.
I think we need to, well, first of all, I do support bike safety and bike lanes, and I think everybody supports that. I do think the city needs to develop a better process for engaging neighborhoods and the small businesses on how they're going to implement them. I don't agree with the process that has been happening lately, where an ordinance was passed in, I think it was July 2020, that set up benchmarks and timelines. That's all fine and good, but the neighborhoods that are going to be impacted need to be directly notified about what's going on and engaged in the process of developing the designs for that. So it's discouraging when I hear that neighbors are surprised when they wake up in the morning and find parking gone and bicycle safety posts, flex posts going up. So I do think that we need to come together and figure out a way to have a reasonable amount of parking to support our residents and our small businesses in the area, while also figuring out a way to provide more safety for our bicyclists that pass through. Bicycles are one mode of transportation. We definitely want to try to encourage more people to use public transportation. We need also, for the climate, we need to be moving more towards electric vehicles. So I do think we need the bike lanes, but I think we need to have a better process figuring how we implement them and where we implement them to not drive out small businesses and make sure that we're not making life more difficult, especially for our seniors and folks with disabilities.
To that list, you might, I would add families with small children.
Sure.
I mean, I just spoke to a woman yesterday who's got 3 children. She lives on Broadway, and what's she going to do if she can't park in front of her house? She can't park near her house.
Yeah, I mean, look, parking is a challenge in Cambridge for most everybody. I'm fortunate that I have off-street parking with my house, but I also have neighbors who don't, and it is a challenge for people to find parking. We are going through this conversation ourselves. I live down by Matignon High School on North Mass Ave, where there's the proposal to put in new bike lanes. I'm not opposed to putting in bike lanes, but it's turned into bike lanes, bus lanes, and the removal of parking, which took many people in the neighborhood by surprise. And that's the problem I have is that we need to have a better process with our city government and staff on how they go about developing these projects.
I think we're about out of time now, Paul. I think it's short. Thank you for joining us. We'll let you go. You're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Can I just say one thing? www.toner4cambridge.com if you want to read more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us, Paul.
All right. Bye.